Hey everyone, welcome back to the Science of CBD podcast brought to you by Twinlab. I am your host, Suzanne Gatt, as always. And with me today, my usual partner is Jean Bruno, who is Professor of Nutraceutical Sciences at Huntington University. And Jean also is the formulator of all Twinlab products. So always good to be here.
Good to be back.
Jean. Today we have a really cool guest with us. I hope that's... Can I describe you as cool? I think you're cool.
Absolutely. Christian is a cool guy.
Cool
sure.
all day.
We have Christian Griffith with us. He is a Twinlab employee, but Christian also has a really cool story that not many people know, and we're going to dive into that a little bit today, and it actually directly relates to phytocannabinoids and CBD because it's what got Christian started on using phytocannabinoids. So we want to dive into that a little bit today and hope you're cool with telling everyone about your story because I think it's really powerful, but also not only your story, but Christian, if you can't tell, Christian is an athlete. So you'll see how, we go from, what Christian's been involved in his personal life and his athletic regimen as well, and how CBD has really benefited him in a multitude of ways. So let's get into it. So Christian, you ran 3,000 miles across the United States.
I did 3,142 miles.
Okay,
man. How many miles a day is that? Did that work out to?
I ran 30 miles a day.
30 miles a day.
Yeah, 15 miles in the morning and 15 at night.
It's a pain for me to run a couple miles after a workout or something. So that's incredible. But why? Everyone that's watching this is like, okay, dude, why?
There's 298 people that have run across the country before me. And a lot of times people do it for athletic achievement, whatever. For me, I wanted to raise money for the prevention and treatment of child abuse. As a sexual abuse survivor myself, it was important for me to do something that would actually make some noise. I run a lot of marathons, run a lot of ultra marathons, do a lot of Spartan races, a number of different events out there. And if I was to just do another 5K or marathon, big deal, right? Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be doing this podcast probably. Mm-hmm. All the media that came from my run wouldn't have happened. But when I decide I'm going to run across the country, then people pay attention. So my goal was to raise $1 million during the time that I was running, and we ended up raising $300,000.
Very cool. That is really exciting. So
I got to ask. I got to ask this question. So, I'm not an athlete. You're an athlete. You're an athlete. But I can only imagine, running 30 miles a day, even with as fit a person as you are, that had to be brutal on your body.
Yeah, it was terrible. I had no frame of reference for it. People asked me how I trained for it. Really no way to train for it, because at least physically, because I didn't want to show up to day one already tired of running or sick of running or beat down, whatever you want to call it, right? I needed to come in fresh. So how do you come in fresh and train for something that long? So I trained myself mentally. And the goal was to just, for about 4 months before the run started, I just made sure that every day I ran twice a day. Didn't matter how far. It could be 1 mile, could be 6 miles, could be 10 miles, whatever. But whenever I felt miserable or did not feel like go running, I'd go running, right? The phrase I like to use is I got comfortable with the uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. And so I just, as an example, I remember laying around with my fiance during the Super Bowl, and she's like, you know what? Super Bowl's over. You need to go for a run. That's the last thing I felt like, right?
I'm sure.
But, got up in the cold, put on my clothes, and went out and ran. And I think that prepared me for just the expectation that I just have to go and do it. And it never was as horrible as I thought it was going to be before I actually went out there, right? I think anyone can attest to that when it comes to exercise. Sometimes you don't want to do it, but once you've done it, you're never bummed that you did it. Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. But there's a huge difference between, I'll go to the gym in the morning and work out, and afterwards I always feel better that I did it. But how did you feel after you ran 30 miles?
Well, and that's what I want to know too. And also, so I know you do CrossFit and you also do, some traditional weightlifting.
Body weight training.
Yeah. Which is a lot of what I do. So I know how it feels to be sore from that type of thing. What's the difference between being sore from a regular workout, exercise, CrossFit, whatever you're doing, and then being sore from days and days of running like this?
No time to recover, right? Yeah. So if you wanted to attribute it to your lifestyle, more weight training, imagine just having some smash workout and then the next day having to get up and do it again. And then the next day again and again and again. So I had to come up with ways that gave me the opportunity to do what's called active recovery. So I would break my runs into what they call the Galloway method or interval training or whatever you want to call it, where I would run for 3 minutes, walk for 1 minute, run for 3 minutes, walk for 1 minute, with the opportunity of hopefully getting some recovery, active recovery, while I was still moving.
Yep.
At the end of the day, when you were in, I guess you stayed in the hotels, I would imagine.
No, we had an RV.
Oh, you had an RV.
Yeah,
okay.
slept in an
So
RV.
when you got into the RV and you finally crashed, what was the experience? I mean, what did you feel? Was there a lot of pain?
Yeah,
Explain
I
a little
couldn't
bit.
sleep. And
That's hard for recovery.
Yeah, well, I mean, for a number of reasons. One, I get done, my mind's spinning, but then also my body hurts so much that it would just throb. And so my legs, my feet, and, I'd read resources, say, oh, put your feet up. I did have quite a bit of medical support that I had access to. I mean, they weren't with me, but I had access to them. And so they would say the normal things, rice, right? Rest, ibuprofen. And I would take ibuprofen and it would work, but only in just really short stints. So over a long term at night, I'd just wake up in the middle of the night and everything would be throbbing and thumping. And I just couldn't, I'd get up the next day and not only was I in tremendous pain, but I didn't have the ability to recover because my body wouldn't release growth hormone, because I wouldn't sleep, and it just kept this whole process
I wouldn't
going.
imagine that, did you try anything like melatonin, and would that do
I did.
anything
I
for
tried
you?
melatonin. Melatonin didn't work for me at all.
I wouldn't imagine that it would, because your problem wasn't a deficiency of melatonin. Your problem was, you brutalized your body for a good cause, but you brutalized your body, and taking the extra melatonin wouldn't necessarily stop you from waking up in pain.
Right, and melatonin is going to do anything for inflammation. So if I'm inflamed like crazy, melatonin might make me a little bit sleepy, but I promise you the throbbing feet and
Keep you up.
and muscles and it wasn't just my legs. Like, that's another thing. A lot of people would think, oh, no, it's holding my trunk up for 8 hours a day.
Your core is all sore and painful.
Running on concrete and various different terrains, right? Like gnarly concrete versus cement versus blacktop versus all very different.
I know from a previous conversation with you, you told me that you started using CBD.
Yep.
Tell us about what that did for you when you did that.
So with CBD, I did, there are, clinical studies and we recommend certain dosages, and I far exceeded those dosages, right? Like when I did so because I was desperate. And
sure.
I believed more was better, right? As someone who utilizes CBD on the regular now, I understand that staying steady is what works best for me. But in that particular moment, I wanted almost that same response that you'd expect from an ibuprofen, meaning an immediate response. So I boatloaded the dosages, anywhere up to 250 milligrams at a time.
Big dose. And what did that do for you?
Well, it gave me the opportunity to, number one, to sleep. Right?
So you were able to get consistent sleep with it.
I was able to get consistent sleep because it, for lack of a better term, lasted longer.
Yeah.
Right. Like the effects lasted longer, brought down my inflammation, which then of course allowed me to sleep. It was just a whole string of things. And as I've gotten to know the benefits of CBD more and more and more, I understand more and more and more why it really started to work for me. It allowed my body to heal itself. And that was necessary. That was nothing that ibuprofen was ever going to do, because that's just masking the pain.
Right.
Anything that I was trying to take to relieve the symptoms is a very different approach than taking something that's going to actually help my body to heal itself better. And that's what I needed, because I needed it day in and day out.
So your experience with CBD, it sounds to me it was pretty amazing. And I sit down all day and I read studies on CBD, and I'm sure you've looked at a few too. But it's one thing to read a study, and another thing to have the personal experience. And yours was an extreme kind of situation. It wasn't just like, oh, I got a little pain now and then, Yours was every day, every night when you went to bed, the pain, the sleep issues. And CBD really made that much of a difference for you.
100%. I mean, it changed my whole thought process on supplementation. I was never really a big supplements guy. But once I made it through that, like, to think about something as intense as what I did from a physical pain perspective and enduring that, if I can go through that, what would the benefits be on sort of a daily regimen of CBD, which is why I'm taking it all the time now. My next goal is to break the world record at the mile for masters athletes. So I'm involved in pretty extensive training right now, and using CBD as my supplement of choice every single day because it allows me to, let's be real, like I'm almost 50 and, I don't have the same body physique. I don't have the same recovery as a 24-year-old. So
yeah, that's true. As you get a little older, your recovery is a little bit slower.
Exactly.
Or sometimes a lot slower.
So I need whatever I can get, but CBD is the foundation of everything that I'm doing.
That's great.
So I take it at night as well. I love it after a workout. It totally helps my body to relax. Like you said, I can get into a nice sleep. I wake up in the morning, I feel refreshed. I absolutely notice that it helps with inflammation, pain. Helps me just to kind of shut my mind down. I work out usually at night, so typically I come home and I'm all my adrenaline's rushed, and I just have a boost of energy from the workout. So it's something that helps me to unwind, kind of de-stress, relax, and sleep well. So is that, now that you're taking it on a daily basis and you're more into a normal workout regimen, are you seeing some of those similar benefits as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing. And for me, for the first time ever in my life, I'm having consistent sleep. I'm a diagnosed ADHD. I took Adderall for a really long time. Once I started staying steady on CBD, I stopped taking the Adderall.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just been, we're focused on, at Twinlab here, we're focused a lot on self-care. And for me, this is the foundation of self-care. Yeah. Because I'll go back to the thing I love the most, is that it's allowing my body to do its own thing.
Yeah.
So both of you are athletes. So my question to both of you then is, with your experience with CBD, what advice would you give to other athletes regarding the use of CBD? You first.
Well, for me, I don't know if I necessarily had to boatload to get the benefits. I just didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't.
Right.
There wasn't a lot of information out there about how to take CBD, and I think like most people are hearing about it. They're hearing about it from friends or hearing about it from random resources, and so there's not a whole lot of clinical backup to it, right? So you're experimenting. It's not until you got on board and we started to learn all this stuff. And so for me, the advice that I'd give people is maybe not start the way I did in boat loading, but start simple and educate yourself first and foremost, because it's the wild, wild west, because there's not a lot of standards around CBD right now. There's a lot of garbage product out there of people that are just jumping on the bandwagon. So I would challenge people to first educate yourself as much as you possibly can about it. It's one step I would have taken if it would have been there, is to educate yourself, and then we're all an experiment of one. What might have worked for me may not work for Suzanne, may not work for Jean. So, just like you would anything else, document and understand how something's working for you, and then adjust dosages based on that. But ultimately, give it a try. And with the understanding that it's not like ibuprofen, it's not like pharmaceutical drugs. Don't expect some sort of like immediate aha. These products are going to help your body repair itself, to do what it was naturally intended to do. So from my perspective, give it 1 week, 2 weeks to start to show some level of benefit before you make a decision on whether or not it's for you.
I agree with that piece completely. I take anywhere between 15 and 25 milligrams in the evening, and definitely the first couple of days that I took it, I did notice the immediate piece of it, in that I fell asleep more quickly. My mind was not as, I'm someone that will lay in bed and just stir at night. So I saw that go away very quickly. But, it's not this overwhelming feeling of, oh, I feel different or I feel better. It's very subtle. But after taking it consistently for a week or two, I've noticed not only am I sleeping consistently every single night, I'm much more refreshed throughout the day. I'm usually a big coffee drinker. Now I might drink. Oh no, our light turned off. Can we get that light back on over there? Sorry. No worries. Hey, that's the reality of shooting these things the way that we do. Stuff happens. But yeah, I'm sleeping more consistently. I'm more refreshed throughout the day. I'm a big coffee drinker, but now I'm drinking like 1 cup, maybe 2. Not nearly as much as I was before. And so it's just bringing this natural energy to me throughout the day, because I am sleeping more and getting more refreshed sleep. But also, to your point, I noticed after an intense workout, my body is just recovering so much more quickly and efficiently. Whereas before I might be sore for 2 or 3 days. Now, depending on the intensity of my workout, I'm sore for, a day, which is normal, I think. But I'm just noticing the way that my body is repairing, and I really think it's overall health and overall from this. We know as athletes that you need to rest and recover, and your body heals itself and your body repairs itself during sleep, during periods of rest. So we need to make sure that those periods of rest and sleep are efficient and that they're working for us and they're effective.
And what you two are both experiencing, the sort of the myriad of benefits you're experiencing, makes sense because CBD and phytocannabinoids, how they help to balance the endocannabinoid system, and the endocannabinoid system helps in homeostasis, balance in the whole body. Makes total sense that you're getting the results you are. Well, that was great. Christian, man, thank you for being our guest today.
Absolutely. Thank you for letting me talk. I mean, I hope a lot of people get on the train. It's opened up my eyes to what else can I do to add to CBD that's only going to make it perform that much better. So it's great.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right,
guys. See you soon. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We're going to be bringing in more people to hear about their personal stories, but I think it was really awesome to kick off this one with Christian. And make sure to follow us, like, share, all of that good stuff. If you have a question for Christian or myself or Jean, make sure to write that below in the comment section and we'll get back to you right away. All right, guys, have a good day. Talk to you soon.